Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Yeah, We Said It. My name is Cedric,
I'm Donnelle.
and we are a podcast dedicated to all things tennis related. We want to discuss your favorite player and the entire 411 or lack thereof surrounding them. No competitor, result, or wig is safe. How are you doing today, Donnell?
I'm chilling, ready to discuss.
Good, good, good. So let's get down to it. You want to do the ladies first?
Yeah.
All right, so we haven't come together in a while, so there's quite a bit to discuss. Um, we never got around to discussing Naomi Osaka winning Indian Wells, and then she also beat Serena in her first match in Miami. So, how are you feeling about Osaka right now, heading into the clay?
I'm feeling pretty good. I think she's shown that she can play. She can play pretty well on the clay, and I think she'll take a lot of confidence from her Indian Wells win. And she's been already like steadily improving this year. I think she's on the right trend upwards.
I agree with that. I think so too, and I think having Sasha in her camp has been really good for her, even in the short time that they've been together. Um, I also wanted to just mention the comments that she made in Charleston after losing. She lost to Gergis, which is not a bad loss at all. Gergis has been playing well the last several months, especially at the end of last year. And I just wasn't sure if those comments that she made were self deprecating or it's her own internal motivation that she's trying to summon up. She said she was down and she felt depressed, and she said that she felt like the only reason she'd even won those couple of matches in Charleston is because she's just a good player overall and not because she's good on clay. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was a little interesting, but I don't think it's a bad thing per se because I think she's still adjusting to being a champion on a tour. Like she just won a big title. She's getting a lot of attention. She, got a few quality scouts on that during that run, and including she beat Howard, world number one, killed her in the semis. She got that win over Serena. So I think it was a lot of attention on her, a lot that she felt like she was dealing with. I think still adjusting to like the pressure of being somebody that people are actually really paying attention to. Somebody people think should be winning these matches and making these deeper runs. And I think she'll adjust. I think she'll handle things better. And after that long run in Indian Wells, and then getting to Miami, having to play Serena right off the back, all of that pressure on top of that, I think she was still trying to, I guess, come down from all of that. I think she'll be fine.
I certainly hope so. Um, Sloan won Miami. How do you feel about that?
I'm happy for her. I am. I'm very happy for her. Of course, I was cheering for Venus to win that title, but
Yeah.
once Venus went out the way she did, it was it was all on Sloan for me. I wouldn't have been upset with Vika winning that title either. It was a good tournament from her. But I was very happy for Sloan to see her finally putting the pieces back together again after that. I don't like it felt like more than a slump. She was losing everywhere. Like after she won New York, and even so far right now, she has. I don't think she's won a match outside of the United States since I don't know when. So I guess we'll have to see how she does when she hits Europe on this clay.
Wow. I didn't realize that. My only negative note about her win in Miami is very similar to the negative notes that I had after she won the U.S. Open last year, in that I didn't feel like she really took the matches into her own hands that often. I felt like she was just kind of out there while her opponents lost the matches. I mean, if you look, especially at the stats in the final, Ostapenko had way more winners and way more errors too. But I mean, that meant she was the one that was in control of the match. Sloane had very, very low stats as far as winners and errors at all. So that was my only negative thought. But I mean, even still, it's a great win and a great showing. She's in the top 10. And I mean, it's all good for her anyway.
Yeah, since her comeback, she has had a very defensive game. Like before she got injured, her game was not uh based around defense this much. She could, of course, she could defend if she
Right.
needed to, but she played a much more aggressive game. And I thought maybe I was remembering incorrectly or something, but I went back and I watched a little bit of her match against Serena from Brisbane, and she was playing you know more baseline dictating style of play. Now it's a whole lot of just get the ball back. So it's not really that much fun to watch, but it's working for her. So I think she's going to stick with it.
Yeah, especially with the clay coming up, I can definitely see her sticking with that.
Right.
Um, also, she withdrew from Charleston the week after she was supposed to go there and play. She was the winner in 2016, and then of course had to skip last year because of that injury that took her out for much of the season. But I did think it was a good idea for her to withdraw. So I'm not saying anything negative about that. I think it was a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a
After,
good idea as
yeah.
well. I think she got fined though for it because of how late she pulled out.
Um,
But
these fines, I mean, like if you're a top player, you just,
right,
like
pay that
whatever.
pay that move on.
Yeah, it's not hurting at all. Um, Kiki Burton, speaking of Charleston, Kiki Burton won Charleston. That was pretty interesting. Looking at the draw, I did not see her coming out to be the winner, but she got past Madison Keys in a very tight semifinal, and then had to play that. They had to play that final the same day, and she kind of ran over Gerges in that final.
Yeah, I wasn't. I didn't pick Burton to win that title. I thought Madison Keys was going to win, but um, I'm not too surprised that she won. She played pretty well in Indian Wells. She lost to Serena there, and she played pretty well in Miami too. Losing to Venus after having a match point
Right.
actually.
That was such an
So
odd match. My goodness.
it was very weird, but so I'm not too surprised to see that she kept it together, finally put it together, got all the pieces in order, and actually made her way to another title.
And she likes the clay too, so it's not surprising. She's been playing well, so
Yeah, French Open semis, right?
right. Yeah. Hopping on one leg and still almost got a set. Mm. Um, Garbinier won in Monterey, which I mean, also not a surprise because she should have. She had no business losing into anyone in that Monterey draw, but good for her for getting a title.
Yeah, she was very happy to get that win too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was jumping for joy after she won that title. I'm happy for her because I like to see the women who are out here winning the slams. I like to see them actually doing well on the regular tour
In
too.
between, yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Even if I'm not the biggest fan of them as a player, she has won two slams, so I need her to be able to find some consistency and do that everywhere because it's not a good look to be able to just peak for one big tournament and then disappear.
Amen. I'm gonna keep talking about her bad until she shows me some more consistency because I'm bitter. I'm just gonna say it. I am.
Right.
Um, Stuttgart is coming up the week after the men play Monte Carlo. The women are going to be in Stuttgart. I was looking at the entry list for this tournament. It's a pretty stacked field. I didn't realize that. You have Simona Halep, you have Muguruza, you have Svitolina, Pliskova, Ostapenko, Caroline Garcia, Petra Kvitova, Kerber, Gerges, Sloane, Madison, Kiki Ladinovic, Daria Katsakina, Sevastova, Pavlyonchikova, Streetsova, Suarez Navarro, Kiki Burtons after just winning. Um, and then you got the doper also. So it's a pretty stacked field.
I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I see. I was just about to ask if Sharapova was playing. Still not 100% sure if she'll actually make it there. Because I'm pretty sure she's still like dealing with her injury or whatever the case may be. So I guess we'll see if she makes it uh, to the Porsche Grand Prix. But yeah, more power to all those women in the draw. I think judging by how people have looked so far, I think Muguruza has the best shot at winning that title.
I would agree with that.
I wouldn't put it past Sloan either to do well.
Yeah,
I mean, you never know. Man, she hasn't won a match outside the United States though, so
right.
you know we'll see how that goes. But Laura Siegemund is just coming off injury. She got a wild card into the draw. I don't see her doing very much.
I'm gonna keep an eye on Kvitova too, because that is an indoor tournament. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, and she likes
Has she played
clay.
there before?
I don't recall her playing there before, but I haven't really followed this tournament in a number of years.
Right.
I don't recall her playing there before. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know this year was her first time in Charleston, I believe.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that would be an interesting tournament. It is pretty stable. Everybody's up to number two.
So in news, um, Roberta Vinci, is she still set to retire this clay season? Do we know?
That is a good question. I haven't heard anything about it because she keeps losing qualies. But
Luke?
we'll see. She said her report last year, Rome was going to be her final tournament, which was just it's so weird. I mean, I know it's her home tournament, but it's the week before a slam. Like, why would you? I don't know.
Because she's losing in qualies. So
Yeah, she gonna get that. She gonna get that Rome wild card and then lose in round one.
sad. Um, Casey Delacqua retired this
Oh
last week.
yeah,
Yeah, 33 years old, former top 30 player. And she has hung her frames up.
yeah. I wish her the best in her retirement
Same
career.
here. Yeah. Um, a maybe supposed retirement, Yankovic. She scheduled a press conference for May 1st in Rome. She hasn't played since the US Open last year. She had back surgery. So the speculation is, I mean, she's calling a press conference for a tournament that's, you know, several weeks away. Um, so it, some people are saying maybe it's a retirement.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past it. I wouldn't be surprised if she decided to hang up a racket. She's been around for a long time, and back surgery is no joke.
At all. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she hung it up.
I thought it was odd that if she is going to retire, that she would call a press conference in Rome. But then I was trying to figure out like where she would call a press conference that would be, like Andy Roddick calling a press conference at the U.S. Open. Like where could she do that? And I was drawing a blank. So I know she's a past champion in Rome, so maybe she just felt like that's where she wants to do it. I don't know.
Maybe she's like already going to be like she's going to be there for whatever reason. So I guess she figured that's where she'll have it.
Yeah. And even still, this is all speculation anyway. The only thing we know is that she called a press conference. So
Right.
we'll see what happens.
But then again, at this stage in her career, what could Yelena Yankovic be calling a press conference for?
True. Bubblegum line. I don't know. Anything else you would like to say about the women?
Yeah, Joanna Conta is out of the top 20.
Praise God.
Absolutely incredible. And she still has a Wimbledon semifinal on her ranking. It's blowing my mind. It is blowing my mind. Like I can't believe it. Like so, I'm very interested to see how she does on the clay because I think she has. I think she made the round of 16 in Rome. I think, and
Is that when Venus beat her?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
either yeah, I'm pretty sure it was around the 16. But because it wasn't the quarters. I think Venus lost in the quarterfinals in Rome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she has those points to defend in Rome. I don't think she has any points to defend in Paris. I think she lost early there last year. But yeah, so I think she has some space to make up some points, but she's not the best player on the clay. So I guess we'll see how she does if she can rebound at all.
But hear her
She's
tell
only
us she's great on
she's only
clay.
25.
That's what she said when she was deflecting. She said that she was a great clay player and she was just adjusting to being on the tour. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I just pulled up her stats a little bit, and she's never made it past the first round in Paris. So
How many times has she played?
three.
Oh,
It's crazy, right? She's still kind of new, but she's also kind of old at the same time. Like she's 26 years old, but she just kind of burst on the scene a little bit. Like she played her first slam in 2012, and that was at Wimbledon. First time she played all four slams was 2016.
I
She was struggling for a while.
yeah. Well, um, yeah. That's all I got to say about that. I don't have because I'm not gonna wish her well or anything. So,
I feel you.
um, on to the men. We got to go all the way back to Indian Wells again. Delpo winning Indian Wells, and then he essentially sleptwalked his way to the semifinals in Miami because he was very, very tired, but he still managed to make it there. So I thought that was pretty good still. But he looked great in Indian Wells. That final against Roger was one of the best ATP matches I think I've seen for a while.
Yeah, that was definitely the best men's match of the year, hands down.
Yeah, and he's hitting his backhand better, so I'm enjoying that.
Right. So I wouldn't put it past him, or I wouldn't be upset with him if he decided to take it easy on the clay because it's not his best service, and also to give himself a little bit of a break after doing so well over those 2 weeks
Right.
in the Sunshine Double. So yeah, I wouldn't be upset with him if he decided to take it a little bit easier on the clay. I hope he does play Paris though.
At least, I mean, I personally don't understand skipping a major tournament.
Me
So,
neither.
yeah,
You're only gonna play one tournament for the whole year, or one clay tournament for the whole year.
right.
Like,
Make it Roland
why?
Garros.
Yeah, why would you like if you lose in the first round, then whatever, you wasn't gonna play anyway. Just go.
Yeah, give yourself the opportunity.
Seriously, especially if you won Australia.
Especially. Mm.
And if you won Australia, you can beat everybody on the tour. I'm specifically talking about Roger Federer now. You won
Absolutely.
Australia, you can beat everybody on the tour. Like, why wouldn't you give yourself that opportunity? Like, yes, guys out here who are great on clay, but I mean, you great on every surface, so you can find a way to beat everybody. Like, you just because you might think that winning Paris might jeopardize your shot at Wimbledon. Like, so what? You would have a second French Open as opposed to like a 50th Wimbledon title. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not seeing the thing. Like, it's crazy.
And I mean, like, it's fun to say, oh well, he's afraid of Rafa or whatever. But I mean, right now they're the 1 and 2 in the world, and I don't think anybody is changing that before Roland Garros. So they would be on opposite halves of the draw. That would at least be another Roland Garros final. And then,
Exactly.
if God forbid Rafa loses, then he's set. Who else is gonna beat him?
Seriously, simple as that. Especially not with Djokovic out here playing the way he's playing right now.
Lord Jesus. I'm gonna bring him up in a minute. I kiss uh, Novak. Um, okay, I only have a couple of things to say about the tournament that followed Indian Wells. Um, Maga won Miami. Um, I only got two notes. Okay, Sasha Zverev. I watched the entire final. I felt he did not handle um, being in the position of being expected to win very well at all. The other Master Series finals that he's made, he's been the
The
underdog.
underdog. Yep.
And so this time he was definitely expected to win this match. Even though he really hadn't played well in a while, I mean, this is another final for him. He hasn't lost. We haven't seen him lose a big final before. So I didn't think he handled it well. And there's also a little bit of pressure for him just because his Rome defense is coming up. It's a little far away, but it is coming up. So I'm sure that's in the back of his mind. Um, and also check Isner's blood pressure. That's all I got.
Isner played out of his mind for that entire week. Like, I've never seen him play that well ever in my life. And if he can do that at Wimbledon, then these dudes better watch out. That's all I got to say about that. Like I
Jesus.
really don't want to see him win another thing, but if he can if he can keep this together, then wow. Because I mean, it was impressive. I will give him that it was impressive, and he was winning matches and winning them like in a straightforward fashion. Like it wasn't just a bunch of tie breaks and like usual. It was crazy to witness. And as far as Zverev, I don't think he didn't handle I don't think he handled the situation great, but this is one of the first times he was in that position, like in a big final as like one of the as the favorite, because he's top four player right now.
Hmm.
So I think this is he. You gotta remember he's only 20 years old. A
Right.
lot he when you're thinking about him, a lot of people don't remember the fact that he's still technically like next gen. He's still in that age group. He's just head and shoulders above the rest of them because he's been playing so well. But he's still adjusting to this top position and being the favorite to do this kind of stuff. So I think this, like you said, this clay season is going to bring another pressure to him as the defending champion at a Masters event. So I think it'll be interesting to see how he adjusts to that because this is a whole new stage in his career. Like last year, he got all those great wins and cracked the top five, top four. And I think this year the pressure is going to be trying to maintain that. The pressure to stay at the top. They say
Right.
it's harder to stay up there than it is to get there.
Absolutely. I'm rooting for him though. I am waiting. I mean, not putting any pressure on him because, like you said, he's still very young and he's has plenty of time. I would just like to see him make a little bit of a run at a slam. So
Right.
yeah, and that I mean, I know I just said not putting any pressure, but that kind of needs to happen this year because even as well as he's played at these Master Series events to win them, if you're doing that and then going to a slam and losing first, second, third round, there's going to be talk in the locker room anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I think he lets best of five get in his head.
Yeah,
I think that's a mental thing for him. I think once he gets over that hurdle, I think he'll be fine.
I hope so. I hope so.
And let me shout out Tanasi Kakinakis for that win over Roger Federer. It was absolutely marvelous.
I know that's your
Came back to
boy.
the witness. He played so well. It was so great. Like going into the match, of course, I was cheering for him. He's one of my favorite next gen players, and I was cheering for him, and I want him to do well and to climb the rankings because he's so young, but he's lost a good chunk of his early part of his career
Right.
with
Yeah.
all these injuries and stuff like that. At one point, he was thinking about retirement, but he came back and he's been slowly playing well. He made a final last year. Um, and he's slowly making his way back up the rankings. I think he's like top like 150 now. So I'm rooting for him. I think he has a lot of potential to be really good. So here's hoping he can keep it together and keep it going. Got kind of a tough draw in Monte Carlo.
Yeah. Monte Carlo. Novak. Hmm. I my first note on Novak is that loss in Miami to Benoit Paire. I put down that has to be one of the top five worst losses of his career. I mean, no shade, but like who loses to Benoit Paire?
That's crazy. Like I know he's just come back from injury and stuff like that, but he must not be feeling like the pain anymore. He must feel like he's ready to be back because he's playing these tournaments. He's just not winning any matches.
It's so
So,
odd.
and he just got rid of his like whole team.
The whole team. Word on the street is that he has rehired Marion Vida again. I don't know why they ever split up in the first place, but apparently that's what has happened since he let Agassi and Roddick Stepanek go.
I don't know why he shouldn't have been working with Radek Stepanek anyway.
Hello, like what is that gonna
What can
do
what can he offer you? Like it didn't make any sense. And then
at
you put
all?
Andre Agassi like working for free as like not a coach but like a consultant of some kind. Like what the hell was that partnership? What were they doing? What were they working on?
I don't understand any of it. And then like I it sounds like a lack of commitment to me, and I'm not necessarily saying it was on Agassi's part. I kind of feel like it was a lack of commitment on Novak's part because what Agassi said after Novak let him go was that They too often agree to disagree. So that just to me seems like, okay, I'm gonna put you on my team as a consultant, and then I'm just not gonna listen to anything you're saying.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
weird.
very odd. It's I don't know, but he's Novak is going through some things right now. I personally don't think, as far as tennis is concerned, the situation is as dire as most people are making it out to be. But also we'll see on the clay. We'll probably won't see in Monte Carlo, but we'll see on the clay.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to see how the rest of his season pans out. He has to, he's got to get it together eventually. Like he can't stay in this weird funk for too long. And his ranking is still good for right now. But if he keeps this up, then he's gonna start tumbling down, and it's gonna be even harder on him.
How is it good? I don't like. What is he?
He hasn't played since Wimbledon last year, right?
No, and okay, I the finals in Rome. I know he
Right.
made the finals in Rome, but like that's keeping him in the top 10.
I think he made like quarterfinals in Paris, right? That's when he lost to Tim.
Um, I kind of blocked out Paris last year.
I'm pretty sure he got bageled in the quarterfinals last year.
Uh, excuse me. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Somebody's got to come up and because I mean, Roger just, I mean, he won a slam without dropping a set again. This is not 2007. It's 2018,
I mean,
and like that's not that. And the ATP is supposed to be so competitive, but come on.
yeah, I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah,
Federer skipping this entire clay season again, so whatever Rafa's not taking, I guess is up for grabs.
yeah, it really
Rafa's
is.
on a comeback trail, of course, after he hasn't played since Melbourne, but he looked pretty good in Fed Cup or Davis Cup.
Yeah, he looked great in he looked great in Davis Cup.
So I think he's feeling good. I look forward to seeing what he does on the clay.
My leading note on Rafa is who gonna check him, and in parentheses, nobody.
Like the
Um,
number one, I'm sure he's feeling good.
yeah, I don't think he's gonna have a ton of issues. That Monte Carlo draw is something, but we've seen him come through draws like that before, and like you said, he looked great in Davis Cup. And at the end of the day, he's still the best on clay. So I don't see a ton of issues. I don't know, especially if he gets out of that little quarter because it's pretty tough. I mean, then who's on the other side of the draw?
Right.
So, um, but yeah, speaking of Monte Carlo, um, there's several absences, top players actually, that will not be playing Monte Carlo. You have Delpo, who is skipping the event. I don't think he's injured, but I mean, maybe he just made the choice to not go. Sometimes players just don't go to Monte Carlo and they wait a little while longer because it's not been
Right.
that long since the hard courts. Um, Chung is also skipping Monte Carlo. You have Kevin Anderson, David Ferrer, and then Nick Kyrgios. They're all skipping the event.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad Delpo was sitting out.
Yeah.
He was obviously tired as all hell in that semifinal in
Hmm.
Miami against Isner. So I think he could use the break. And Chung, I'm kind of glad. I really looking forward to seeing him play on the clay, but I'm kind of glad he's sitting out as well because the way he lost in Miami was very disheartening.
Whew.
Damn, John Isner.
Mm, mm, mm.
So let's see, Stan. You said Stan, right? Stan's not playing.
I didn't mention
Stan's
Stan, but
already in the
yeah.
top 20.
Well, I mean,
So who knows when he'll be back? I keep getting this inkling, or this vibe that he is, that he's ready to come back, but then he's pulling out of tournaments or he's not on the injury list. So I'm not even sure. Like, is it still his knee that he's dealing with?
I believe so. And he said the last time that he played, he said that it wasn't like from the surgery, it was just like knee pain. I don't know. I don't know if that was the truth or not. But I do think that he needs to stay gone a little longer because clearly he came back too soon when he came back at the start of the season.
Right.
Um,
It's like he was winning matches, but he didn't look good out there.
if I were him, I would probably, I don't know, maybe like, I would say, play Roland Garros or whatever because he did win it a few years ago, but then it's, uh, then it's the grass and he's not been great on grass throughout his career. I don't know. That's a tough spot too. We'll see what he does.
Right. Andy Murray, I don't think he'll be back until the grass. I think he said something about possibly coming back earlier, like in May, but I don't think he should do that.
I don't even know if he should come back on the grass. I mean, I understand him coming back on the grass because everything is right there, but hip surgery is a thing. I've seen close relatives go through that. Uh, I think he should wait a little longer, in my own
We'll see.
personal opinion. I mean, I'm rooting
I'm
for him to
rooting
come
for
back.
Andy back.
Yeah,
I really miss watching him play.
absolutely.
I hope if he's 100% ready to go, willing and able to do this on the grass, then I'm all for it. But if there are any kind of question marks and he just wants to get out there and maybe and try to do something, then I don't think he should do that because he shouldn't push his limits at all. Especially not with an injury like this. You don't want to go fuck around and make it worse than what it already is, or slow your rehab because then you'd be sitting out for even longer. And he's getting older at that age. You can't keep
Right.
aggravating injuries over and over again because it takes longer to heal.
I agree. Um, so that top section, of course, Nadal section as the number one seed, it's kind of tough. He could possibly have a third round versus Kakanakis. Um, and then it's possible quarterfinals, either Novak, Dominic Thiem, Chorich, or Rublev. So that's tough just getting through the quarterfinals.
I think that's a good test for Nadal early on. I think his third round will probably be Kakanakis or Simone. I don't see Manarino making it there
No.
for whatever reason. I know Simone hasn't been playing that great, but I don't see Manarino making it that far. And the quarterfinal, I think, will most likely be Team. I think the only person who has a good shot at stopping Team possibly will be George in the third round. I don't think Djokovic will make it past George either if he gets past this qualifier, whoever that may be. I don't think he's in place yet.
I'm excited to see that match if it happens.
George and Djokovic?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Um, but yeah, I agree with you. That would most likely be Tim. He hasn't played. I mean, He did have win a title, small title earlier this year, but he has not been playing great of late. But Clay is where he shines. So
Yeah, he hits that clay and he turns into somebody else.
right. Um,
But I still see Nadal coming through that section.
absolutely. I would still be surprised if he doesn't. Um, I don't really have too many other notes on that section. Um, the next quarter is Grigor's quarter. Um, Another person who's kind of had a pretty trash season thus far.
Like
Um,
it blows my mind. Like he won the ATP finals, and I'm thinking this is about to catapult him into a great 2018. He's
hmm
gonna take this momentum and run with
hmm
it. He's done nothing with it, nothing at all, and it's a shame.
It's extremely puzzling. I mean, it wasn't just that he won the World Tour Finals. It was, I mean, the way he won it, it was so entertaining. It was like refreshing to see somebody else come up like that, and
Right,
especially for him, finally play up to his ability and his talent level. I mean, But for him to come into this year, and then he almost started out the year well. He did make the finals in Brisbane and lost to Nick, and then early loss to Kyle Edmund in Melbourne, and then he comes and gets to the finals of Rotterdam and gets completely bodied by Roger Federer. So, and then since then it's been garbage, to be honest.
Yeah, like in the matches that he has won, he hasn't really played that well to win them. So it's just been a mess. But this section, like there's literally no reason why he shouldn't make the semifinals. There's no reason why. But I don't think he will at the same time because he's been playing like crap. But I can't take
Right.
anybody out of here. Like I can. Goffin is still coming back from this eye injury thing
Mm-hmm.
and can't see for a damn right now. So I think Shapo will beat disqualifier. Then he'll take Goffin out. And I don't know. I think I see this semifinal probably going to Shapovalov or Batista because I don't think I don't think Dimitrov is in the space to make a run here at all.
And he could, I mean, he could see Filip Krajinovic in the second round. That would be his first match. And that I don't think would be an easy outing for him on form right now. I don't think that would be the easiest of matches for him.
Right.
I agree with Bautista Agut. He's my pick for that section. Um, yeah, I mean, I did write down that Goffin was the next highest seed in the section, but he lost to Jasusa 6-0, 6-1 in Miami. So
Yeah.
I don't think he's ready just yet.
Nah, he still can't see.
No.
So I think Shapovalov will take him out in the second round. So I think we'll get Shapovalov and Batista Gut in the third round, and I think the winner of that match makes the semis.
I wouldn't be mad at Sharpo making that semi. Go ahead
Me
on. Come on. Um, the next quarter is Sasha's quarter. Yeah, we've already talked about him quite a bit. The next highest seed in that section will be Luca Pui, who I feel like we just haven't seen in a while.
I don't know. He's
Uh,
just not done much.
no, he won that title in. I feel like he won Montpellier or something. I know he won a title because I watched him. He beat Songa. Well, Songa retired with whatever. I think it was a knee injury. He's still out. That's another player we didn't mention who's not going to be in Monte Carlo. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe he just lost early during the Sunshine Double or something. I don't know.
I'm looking at the Miami seeds now. I don't think he played Miami.
Okay, well, that would make sense. I just don't remember him playing.
Yeah, I don't think he played Miami.
Um, Diego Schwartzman is in this section.
Oh
That's
yeah,
the Rio
he's playing
winner
pretty well.
from earlier this year. Yeah. So, and also Fonini is here. He won Sao Paulo. So, um, yeah. But I think if Zverev doesn't make it out of this section, it's going to be another huge disappointment. Honestly,
Well, we'll see. I think we'll probably get a Zverev Schwartzman quarter, and I think losing to Schwartzman here wouldn't be too bad of a loss for him. But um, yeah, we'll see. It'll come down to those two. I'm not at this point. I'm not sure which one of them will pull through because Zverev seems like he put it together a little bit in Miami. He's playing better. So, but we'll see. Can't stack all my chips on him just yet because I think that Miami final was Zverev's first final since he won. What was it? Where did he win?
he won. Yeah, he won Canada last
Yeah, I
year.
think that was his first final since Canada.
Yeah, he played garbage like from then on last year.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Then the last section, Marin Cilic's section, still adjusting my eyes to seeing him as a two seed at these big tournaments. But with one or the other of the top two out, anytime he is the number three player in the world right now. So he has not handled that number two seeding very well thus far. He lost early in Miami and Indian Wells.
yeah. I was very shocked to see him take those losses. Like, I felt like it came out of nowhere.
He's kind of, because I feel like he had a pretty good showing at the end of last year as well, like at the World Tour Finals, and he hasn't really backed it up. But you kind of never know with him because he can just show up and play well. He's kind of almost like Stan, like you just don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I definitely forgot that he made the Australian Open final this year.
Oh dang! Wow!
I completely forgot. I just pulled it up. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why he's still ranked so high.
And well, I know he made the Wimbledon final last
Yeah, he got the
year.
Wimbledon final in his ranking too.
How do we not remember these? I guess they were.
Forgetful finals.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I had completely forgotten that. Um, he actually has the winner of Verdasco and Pablo Cuevas in the second round. So,
So yeah, he could be good.
yeah, we'll
This
see.
this section is actually kind of stacked now. I'm looking at it. You got uh, Edmund versus Douglas Parlov to take on Carreño Busta in the second
Hmm.
round. Nisha Corey takes on Burdage in round one.
Cute match. We'll see.
Roundage is down there. And Jarmer, Verdasco, and Cuevas. So yeah, I think Verdasco is going to come through that match, and I think Chiller should have his hands full there.
Absolutely.
Yes, this section got a couple names in it, but I think I would I probably Carreño Busta might actually come through this.
That was actually my pick. I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yep.
I like that guy.
Um, yeah, and I mean, I picked Rafa as the winner. I don't see him losing.
Yeah, well, I think I think most likely we're headed for another Zverev final.
Absolutely.
That's if Sasha can keep it together. If she
Right.
actually got it together.
And he would be the underdog in that final, but I don't see him beating Rafa in a final on clay.
He was underdog in that Davis Cup match just last week, and he lost.
To who?
Rafa.
Oh dang, I forgot they play.
Yep, they just played. That was one. I think that was the main thing that impressed me about Rafa's performance in Davis Cup. Like, yes, Clay. So of course, he can play well on the clay, but he just coming back from his injury, and you get a player like Zverev that you got to play in a best of five match. So it's pretty good. It was good to see.
That was good to see. Yeah. Any other notes on Monte Carlo?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Yep. Same here. Let's move on to the power rankings. Mine
Before the power
were,
rankings, though. Before
mm,
the power
yeah,
rankings,
okay.
a couple more interesting things about the news. Not really tournament related. Well, kind of tournament related. The shot clock that the U.S. Open is trying to implement.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think that is one of the craziest things that I've ever seen. Like, I guess it sounds good. Like when you talk when they mention it, and they first think about it. Like, but these penalties that they attach to it just is it's insane. Like, you got let me see, first penalty, like when you go past the allotted time between points is a warning, which is fine. But then
Hmm.
after the warning, you lose. It's a point penalty, and then after the point penalty, it's a whole game penalty. That's about to be chaos in New York. Like, I can't. I think Rafa's going to be losing his mind. As soon as Venus catches a toss, it's going to be crazy.
Oh dang.
It's going to be a sight to see. Because as Darren Cahill was on Twitter saying, he said it's great to have a shot clock, but he said the penalty should always be a loss of a first serve, and that seems like the first logical step to me. Like, when it comes to that, like the whole point penalty and game penalties and stuff like that. Imagine imagine being down break point. You just want a crazy 30 shot rally. Now you got a point penalty, and boom, you just lost your serve. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, I think, in the way of the penalty being the loss of the first serve, I think that would add a little drama and a little spice too if that were to happen. And I think that would be more fun to watch than, Oh, hey, you just lost this game.
right? And Cahill was on Twitter. He was saying, this is just another case of the four slams, the ATP, the WTA, and the ITF all doing whatever they want without like actually like discussing it, with everybody else. It's like all these all these different governing bodies in the sport. It just makes everything so confusing
And jumbled, yeah.
and yeah, jumbled up and messed up. Like tennis needs to be under one governing body somehow, some way, somehow, to try to keep all this stuff in line because per tournament, per organization, it shouldn't be so different. Like it's crazy. And the chair umpire apparently has, they can use this, they can start the clock at their discretion. Like I guess whenever they feel, is necessary. So I guess that's fine to the point like where like they can start it a little bit late after like a long rally or something like that. But
Right.
I still think that's just giving them a lot of power, like to determine whether or not you think these players should be ready because there's so many factors to take into place when it comes to between points because sometimes for serve the wind is blowing and it messes your toss up or you're waiting for crowd noise to die down. You just played a 30 ball rally, so you're trying to catch your breath a little bit. And I think it's too many factors to take in place to really push this shot clock forward, to at least to the way they want to.
Yeah, and I don't see that to be incredibly necessary anyway. I mean, even as much time as Rafa takes, I don't think he takes that much time. Like I don't if I'm watching him, I don't notice how much time he's taking
Right,
between points. I don't know. I just don't think it's necessary. If we're trying to shorten matches, there are other ways to do that. And I
exactly.
don't think it's necessarily a shot clock as the best answer. Um, is the rule about the warm ups, is that also taking effect in New York?
See, I don't know. I heard about that a while ago, but I thought that was supposed to be implemented earlier this year, like on a regular tour. But I'm not. I don't even remember like hearing anything else about it, like a follow up. So
No.
is that still happening?
I feel like I read about it in addition to the shot clock rule earlier this week, but I don't remember if it was taking effect in Miami or not. I feel like it was. Um, Personally, I think they should do away with the warm up altogether.
Right.
Because the players have already warmed up and
Yeah,
stretched. This is
exactly. They've been doing
2018.
it all day.
Yeah, like I mean, they've had two hits. They've been stretching in the tunnel. They're doing all kinds of stuff. They're sweating when they get to the court. Let's just go. Let's start.
I saw somebody saying that on Twitter before. There really is no point in this warm up. Like
Not
it's not.
anymore. Yeah.
Right. It's not like they've been sitting down all day just waiting for the match to start. Like
Yeah, everybody's
even
not
before,
John McEnroe.
even in the tunnel right before they walk out, you see them stretching in the hallway and doing jumping jacks and all
Right.
kinds of stuff. Like they're warmed up, ready to go. Let's just get the match going.
I think that would help viewership too, because I mean, when I don't, I turn the match on like intentionally. I turn it on late just because I
Right.
don't want to sit there and watch. Who wants to sit there and watch the warm up? Who cares?
Exactly. Seriously. Like, and I guess you can look at it like the warm up gives people like a little bit more time to like file into the court, but
That can already be done. They can fix that
yeah,
too.
like
And if they, and that's another thing with that, and that we can bring up is the controversy with Wozniacki in Miami, um, and the stuff that happened during her match. I think things need to be a little bit more structured, and there needs to be a little bit more like more guards and different things like that on these tournaments. I mean, these are professional events, and you would think in 2018 things would be a little bit more structured.
right. Seriously, 'cause especially when it comes to hecklers doing stuff like that. Like there should be people at least placed around the courts to a point where they can, monitor and hear all this different kind of stuff that might be going on because this person said this terrible thing to me. Oh well, there's no, I don't have any kind of proof of that. I couldn't hear it. This, so now there's nothing we can do about it. That kind of stuff is it's not good. It's not a good look.
I agree, and I don't feel like it's been that long since the last time we saw somebody run out on the court on a
You're right.
changeover during a match.
I think the last time, the most recent one I remember is the French Open final in 2013. I think when Rafa played Ferrer,
Right.
those protesters ran on court with like flaming the torch things. The what the hell are those stupid things called? Whatever the hell
I
that
don't
thing is
know.
called. But
Yeah.
they ran on court with those shirtless protesters or whatever, like that kind of stuff. How do those people make it all the way onto the court in a professional match? Like,
That shit is
what are
scary.
you doing?
That's scary. And it's like, I mean, after Monica Seles' stabbing, this should never happen again. Like, there should
That shit
be,
should be on lock.
I just don't understand why we're in 2018, and they don't have better security at these tournaments. I mean, it makes no sense. So, yeah, I mean, not to derail anything, but that was, what you were saying about, you know, that could, the people filing in, that can be done too. There just needs to be more structure. And, if the fans want to come in and watch, then they can abide by the rules to come in and watch because, you know, I mean, I understand they paid for a ticket, but that means it should mean even more for them, to want to be there and do the
Yeah,
right
definitely.
things. Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
You can't come in until a change or once the match and stuff gets going. So get there on time. As simple as that.
yeah, I don't think that would be difficult as a change. Um, what else do you think would help with shortening of matches? I don't want to bait anyone, but
Um, let's get rid of best of five first of all.
thank you. Okay, so I didn't have to say it.
Because the slams are the main ones trying to make these matches a little bit, try to make the match a little bit shorter.
Right.
Let's do away with best of five at least until the quarterfinals. Let's
I
do
agree with that.
best of three up until the quarterfinals. That's perfectly fine with me. Those last 3 rounds, best of five sets, perfectly fine. It's acceptable. That's the kind of match people want to watch. Nobody wants to watch a 5 hour first round match between two nobodies. They're just taking up a bunch of time on the court, like pushing matches back and just ruining everybody's day. And not everybody has 5 hours to set aside in their day to sit and watch one tennis match. Like the only people doing that are like diehard tennis fans, and they're only doing that for matches between top players.
Right.
And so, if they want to make the sport more marketable to the average sports fan, then it needs to take less time than 5 hours. And I don't think the way to do that is shot clocks and to like shorten sets to like the fast play tennis type of stuff. I don't think those are the answers. The main answer for me, what I think the biggest answers are, is let's do away with best of five at the slams, and also let's speed up the courts because
Yes.
every court plays so slow now, and it makes the matches take so long because all the points are like 15 shots. That's not helping anything. Like they're doing everything they can to try to so as they say try to speed up the game, except get rid of best of five and speed up the courts.
Yeah, especially with the court speed, I think there should just be more variety altogether. I don't think all our hard courts should be that slow. Like the fastest hard court is what, like the Paris indoors or Shanghai or something like that. I think, and then everything else is slow. Like it's medium. And I don't understand that. Like everything, there used to be much more variety, and that's why you don't have like clay specialists or grass specialists or hardcore specialists anymore because everything is the same speed and it's just the same people winning everything over and over again. And
Exactly,
then
everything has been homogenized.
yeah, and then you have these 5 set matches, but 5 set does not equate to a classic match. I
Right.
mean, and personally, as big of a tennis fan as I am, I can't even recall the last time I sat through a 5 hour tennis match or a 5 set match. I turn it off. I can't sit through it, and I'm just like, oh, I'll check later and see who won because I don't want to sit through that. But I can definitely recall great 3 set matches that I've watched all the way through and played. So if I, as a big tennis fan, am saying I can't sit there with my attention span and watch a 5 set match, then like what are casual fans that are just coming to check out what's going on? What are they doing? They're not watching that.
Exactly. This idea that the men's matches need to be best of five because that creates classic this and classic that. Like I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think men playing best of three takes away from the quality or the tension of the match at all. If anything, it heightens it
Right.
because after you lose that first set, you got one more set and you
Pressure.
out of here. Like the
Right.
sense of urgency is turned on, and
Mm-hmm.
if you just look back as as early as Miami just passed or Indian Wells and just early Indian Wells, that final between Federer and Del Potro was great.
It was great.
That was a
Yeah.
great quality three set match. So I think it's crazy to think that they shouldn't do that or they can't do that to slams. It's ridiculous.
Also, the very least they could do is do away with these long ass fifth sets and just give us a tie break at the end of that fifth set.
Right.
We don't need to see 12-10 or 14-12 or anything like that in the fifth set. Give us this tie break and let it go on because I mean that is actually more fun to watch that tie break in the fifth set to see who
Mm-hmm.
wins than it is to it just keeps going with the same old crap and nobody can break serve and we're just sitting here and it's just going on
Right.
forever.
And
Nobody wants to see that.
that's the good thing about New York because
Right.
at least with the best of five set match in New York, there's an end in sight. Like once it gets to this point in the fifth set, it's the match is almost over.
Right.
In Paris and Melbourne and Wimbledon, that match could go on forever. Like it's crazy, and I think and I don't mind that so much in a best of three match. Like when the women have to play till someone breaks serve, I do not mind that because you've only been sitting there for three sets.
Right.
So it's not it their matches is not gonna it's not gonna take that much longer. But for the men, you've been sitting there for five sets, and now you have to wait for somebody to break serve to end this.
And then they're doing this in, the first or the second or the third round, and this is a player who could, potentially break through with a big win and make a run. But now they're tired as hell and they have to come back in 2 days and they don't have anything left to give in the next
Exactly.
round.
It's right, and that especially those early round five setters really diminish the quality of what could be
Right.
in these tournaments because you got these guys killing themselves, 14, 16, 14 in a fifth set in the first round. Like, what is he going to have to give?
Nothing.
What much more does he have to give when it
Yeah.
comes to, round two or maybe round three if he makes it there?
I think
It's crazy.
it's a little bit self-destructive as a sport, I think. And it's tough, especially, to build up the younger players who are, if they do come through and win that best of five match, then they can't do anything after that and truly break through the way they would want to at a slam because everybody wants to break through at a slam,
Right.
you know. I don't know. There need to be just some changes made, but they're not making the right ones. They're not listening, and they're definitely not listening. I mean, I feel like all of us as fans are yelling and they're not listening. They're putting us on mute and doing what they want.
Seriously, they listen to the select few of these old traditionalists talking about, oh, best of five is this, is tennis tradition that. Like, fuck your damn traditions. Like, get this shit out of here. Move the sport into the new age. The times
Absolutely.
are changing. Seriously, and you think they're trying to get with the times, like WTA with their little WTA TV thing, but that shit barely works. Like, how you got a whole streaming thing where the only spot where people can watch your matches for real, and it's there's no app for it or nothing like that. Like people can't put it on their like add the thing to their phones or tablets. Put it on their gaming systems or something like that. You got to be sitting at a computer and pull up the damn website to try to watch that shit. Like who is doing that? Seriously, who is doing that? And then you want people to pay $10 a month to watch your crap, and don't nobody know who any of your damn players are because they
They haven't seen
can't
them,
watch your matches anywhere
man.
else. Like, how are these young women supposed to become stars? Because supposed to become these popular athletes when people can't find their matches, people don't know who they are. Like, they don't know how to market their sport at all. It's a fucking shame, and it makes me upset because you know Venus and Serena not going to be here forever. Sharapova's on her last legs. Like these people that the people already know, they'll be out the door soon. Like they older than you think. Like
Right.
you
And
think
then
you think
what?
they could be playing forever, but you trying to turn these young ones into stars, into the faces of the tour, but don't nobody know who they are, even at this moment in time. Like especially even the players who have won slams, like
Nobody knows who they
like
are.
Sloane Stephens and Ostapenko and Muguruza, they're not worldwide stars yet, and they're slam champions. Like they should be getting this big star status, this big star treatment. They should be real popular among the sponsors and like the sporting lines and stuff like that, like Adidas and stuff like that. You should be seeing their faces everywhere, and you don't. Seriously, like the sports world loves a young and a young rising star, but in tennis, the only people who know about these rising stars are those of us who've been following the tour for years.
And even then, sometimes it's pretty difficult to really find them. And then if you do, like, oh, you say, oh, you see somebody and like, oh, I want to watch them, and then you can't. So
Exactly.
it's yeah, it's not
So
great.
here, pay $10 a month to watch this little random ass tournament that you never heard of, so you can see if you like one of these players. Like, no, it's not a good business model.
Yeah, they have to do better. They haven't really thought things through, and it's
Yeah.
a and
And then you got
I don't know.
Madison Brengle trying to take $10 million from the WTA.
Look, I'm gonna let you have that one because I really, I do not, I don't understand. But I hollered when I saw that.
Yo,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it when I read it. So Madison Brengle is suing the WTA. Let me see. She got a few. She's suing a few people. She's suing WTA, the ITF, the International Doping Testing Management. She's suing Stuart Miller. He's in charge of the ITF doping program, and John Snowball. He's a doping control officer for the aforementioned IDTM. And she's seeking $10 million in damages because for battery, negligence, and intentional infliction of emotional distress from blood testing procedures. And she claims that these procedures have permanently damaged her right arm because apparently she has some kind of medical condition that causes extreme pain in her arm when a needle is inserted. She says it feels like lightning on her arm or like acid is being poured on her arm. She described at one point screaming and passing out from the pain.
Oh, good God.
Um, so she's seeking $10 million in damages from all of that, and that's more money than she's won in her entire career. She's 28 years old.
Lord.
She's been playing for a while. She suffered a collapsed vein in 2009, so I think that's part of what's adding to like her pain, I guess. But yeah, so I guess she's saying they intentionally caused her all of this pain and emotional distress from her drug test being done with by blood test. I'm not sure. I'm no lawyer, so I can't speak on how good a case she has. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. $10 million in damages.
It's I mean, that whole situation really sucks. I'm surprised at the 10 million figure, but if she's been with her lawyers and they feel like that's the accurate amount to go for, then I mean, more power to her. I don't know if many of the players on either tour are particularly happy about the way they are treated as far as that whole testing thing goes.
Right.
So, I could see it, and I could see maybe some other players kind of supporting her and banding behind her on it. I mean, I have nothing negative to say about it because sis Sybil bambered us in 2017 and helped us get that Australian Open title with that absolutely disgusting loss. And so, I mean, great on her for whatever she wants to do. And yeah, I mean, I hope whatever the best outcome is for her is what happens. I don't know what that is. I mean, I guess it's the 10 million, but
Yeah, I don't think she'll get that whole 10 million. I think they'll end up settling for some undisclosed amount.
right.
But we'll see. I think so. I find it so weird for her to be suing the WTA. Like it's crazy to me. But I guess we'll see how this plays out.
Yes, we will be watching. Absolutely. You have anything else?
Nope.
All right. All right. So my power rankings are they're kind of shabby. It's kind of difficult to come up with any
Mm-hmm.
at the moment. Um, for the women, I kept Osaka at number one just because, I mean, the way that she played, and I felt like she bodied some top players on that run in Indian Wells, and she played just so well and made it look much easier than it probably was. Um, and then to back it up with that win over Serena, I mean, of course Serena was not at her best, but any win over Serena is a big one, especially when that's your hero and somebody you've looked up to all these years coming up. And I don't read much into the loss in Charleston. Like I said, she lost to Gerges, who is playing pretty well anyway, so it's not a horrible loss for her. I have her at number one.
Yeah, I put Sloane as my number one just
Okay.
because of just because of I guess mostly because of how recent it was, and and I think it knocked Osaka down to my number two because of the loss from Miami and Charleston. And I think Sloane had a pretty good run in Miami. She took out Muguruza in the fourth round there, and she took out Kerber, who's been playing pretty well so far this year,
Hmm.
and Vika, who was actually playing pretty well in this tournament too. Vika took out Pliskova, which I found very impressive. But Vika looked like she ran out of steam in that semifinal. But um, yeah, Sloan got three top wins over in that Miami run. So I think yeah, I gave her my number one because I think that win. I hope that win will push her to do well in the clay.
Um, yeah, I have Sloan as my number two for mine with all the same reasons you just said. Um, I don't know why I didn't have her as number one instead of two, but that's that. I have. Uh, oh, who do you have as your number two?
My number two is Osaka.
Okay, yeah, you said that. I actually have Barty as my number three. I don't think I meant to put Barty. I think I meant to put Burton's.
Yeah, I put
I'm reading that and I'm like, why do I have Ashley Barty? What did she do? Yeah, I think that was supposed to be Burton's. I think I typed that really quick between classes or something. I don't know. But yeah.
for my number three.
um, I still have Venus as number four. Just because she didn't win either one of those titles, and she very well could have won both. But um, she did have the consistency. I was looking for some other girls with some consistency between those two events for the Sunshine Double, and there were none. So semifinals in Indian Wells and a quarterfinal to back it up. I mean, it very well could have been a title in Miami, but who knew that that girl was going to come in and play like that?
Ridiculous.
I I'm I'm still confuzzled on that one. I don't know what else to say. I mean, she really came out there and hit that ball. I can't even. I mean, I'm mad, but like I can't be mad.
Right.
So, but yeah, I have Venus as my number four.
I gave number four to Ostapenko
Okay.
because of her run to the final in Miami. Well, it was very good to see from her because she had been struggling for a little bit too. Like
Right.
she hasn't done very much this year so far, and I think hopefully that win will push her to also to do well on the clay because she's defending the French Open title this year, and it'll be a shame to see her to bounce out early on the clay.
Right. Yeah, I like her, so I want her to do well and at least get back to the second week and try to make another deep run, if
Right.
anything.
And she had a pretty good run in Miami too. She took out Kvitova and Svitolina,
Okay. Yeah, those are good
and
wins.
yeah, so I think she played pretty well, and I hope she does well going forward because she got the let's see French Open title and Wimbledon quarterfinal on her ranking, so she
Okay.
got some points to defend coming up.
Yes, she does.
Hopefully she can
Um,
get it together.
she's my number five, so that rounds out my
Yeah,
women.
my five was Venus.
Okay, we had very similar names.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty easy. On the men, I kept Delpo at number one,
me too.
actually. Yeah. Um, that was still a pretty good run. He was tight as he could possibly be in Miami, so to even make the semifinals, that I thought that was pretty great. Um, my number two is actually Chorich.
Oh, that's good. I gave Isner number two because he played crazy well. I don't like the guy at all, but he played crazy well. Like it was it was insane. So
I uh,
I had to give him number two.
I think I put Chorich for the same reason that I put Delpo, just the consistency, making that semifinal, and then he made a quarterfinal the next week, same as Venus
Yeah,
did. So that was good, and to at least back up that breakout event, almost making the final in Indian Wells. So that was good, and I'm rooting for him. I have Roger at number three. Couldn't drop him too far down. I don't read, even though it was a great win for Kakanakis in Miami. I don't read much into the loss for Roger.
yeah,
Uh,
no, not at all.
yeah.
Number three, I gave Federer number three too.
Okay.
My
Um,
number four, my number four is George. George.
okay. I put MAGA at number four just because I had to include him on the list, and uh, yeah, I have nothing else to say about that. And Zverev is my number five, rounding out the list.
He's my number five as well. And I wanted to give an honorable mention to Chung as well because he played pretty well. I enjoyed watching him in Miami.
Yeah, he's still on the come up. So
That loss to Isner was pretty pretty terrible, but he played pretty well in his first few matches.
I'm so glad I didn't watch that.
It was awful. I was really expecting him to win too because he's
I
such a good
was too.
returner, but
Yeah.
freaking he couldn't hold his own serve at all. Like it was crazy hard, and Isner just was blasting the ball.
Meldonium. Um. Yeah. Well, that's all I have.
Yep.
Um. So yeah, this has been fun. I would like to mention at this time that you can subscribe to the Yeah We Said It podcast on iTunes. We're also on Twitter at Hold Your Ponytails because, yeah, I don't know why I did that, but it makes sense, I guess, a little bit. I also wanted to mention that you can listen via Alexa if you just ask her after subscribing, of course. Just say, Alexa, hey, play the Yeah We Said It podcast, and she'll do it. So that's pretty cool. You can follow my personal Twitter at Hey SETI Baby, Donnell.
I'm at I am Nels.
All right, so it's been fun, and until next time, see y'all later.
Peace.
Bye.